Hey guys, Meteorologist Chris Tomer here with this Monday mountain weather update. I want to start with my bullet points here and just sort of set the table. So I really am focusing on this key period between 12:26 and 12:30. It looks like we're going to have waves of heavy snow, a really productive pattern for a lot of the West, with bullseyes potentially in the Wasatch, the Tetons, Idaho, parts of BC, the Pacific Northwest, even parts of central and northern Colorado could get in on this action between this time period. So I'm excited about this. It's going to be a colder period with the storm track coming further to the south, and that's going to bring the rain snow line to a lower elevation from where it's been. In the Northeast, yesterday it looked pretty minor, everything down the road. Now things are trending up slightly. I'll show you those numbers coming up. All right, let's go to radar first and see what is going on across the west. So a little storm system right here with some moisture moving through Idaho. It's headed towards the Tetons. So you will have snow developing today. You've got snow, a little bit of snow up in the parts of the Pacific Northwest, a little bit of snow running through northwest Montana. So that's what's happening right now. Now up in the Northeast, you've got a clipper coming, and see that wave of snow coming out of the Great Lakes. That arrives at a lot of the ski areas late tonight into tomorrow with light to moderate accumulation. So that is on the way. Okay, let me just go to the water vapor satellite imagery here. So this is the view across the west at the low levels. So your drier air is in the oranges and the reds, your moisture is in the whites and the blues. Couple of things to mention. There's our wave of moisture moving through the interior, another storm system behind it, and another one behind that. So they're all lined up, and eventually all these storms are going to go a little bit further to the south and nail the Sierra, the Pacific Northwest, interior parts of the West. Like I said, 12:26 through 12:30 is really that key time frame that I'm watching right now. Okay, let me take you to my snow timeline. Best odds of snow for the Wasatch, Tetons, Colorado, Tahoe, interior BC, and the Northeast. So, for example, in the Wasatch, light snow accumulation today. I showed you that wave on radar moving through the interior. And then late 24, Christmas Eve and Christmas Day, light to moderate accumulations. So could have some new powder on Christmas Day. And then 12, 26, 27, 28, moderate to heavy accumulations. That's going to be the key time period for a lot of the Wasatch. And that's each of those days. And then by the afternoon of 12:29, we could be looking at light additional accumulations. The Teton's truly a bullseye with this setup. So moderate accumulations today, that's the snow coming, showed you on radar. And then some light accumulations evening, Christmas Eve and a Christmas Day. And then your heaviest period is going to be 12, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. So significant accumulations. And you can see, I'm not going to go through all these, but we've got some moderate to heavy accumulations coming to Colorado as well. Let me just drill down just a little bit here on Utah. So this is the forecast mediagram for Alta, Utah at about 9,000 feet. So there we are, Monday the 23rd today. There's Tuesday. There's Christmas Day. There's the day after. Now this particular model is, for my taste, a little bit too dry. This does forecast some snow between the 24th and the 25th. I think it's going to be more than this, more than what's shown here. Again, I think we could be looking at 3, 4, 5 inches of accumulation during that time frame, and I'll show you my numbers coming up. So this is on the lighter side, but winds do gust a little bit, 20-25 ahead of that front. If it's stronger, there's probably going to be more wind, but you can see the temps today at about 9,031 for the high, tomorrow 35, and then colder on Christmas Day. Okay, let me show you a little bit about Colorado here. So this is Loveland Ski Area, the time height forecast, and all I'm doing is I'm looking for the green here. This is a slice through all the vertical layers, and this is a humidity forecast for the next 72 hours, and you read it from right to left. So not from left to right, but right to left. And so you can see there are two chances of snow for the Loveland Ski Area. Basically, that's going to happen this afternoon, tonight, tomorrow morning. And then again between probably Christmas Day and the afternoon of Christmas Day. So there are two chances of snow coming with this before we get into the big pattern, before we get into the 26th through the 30th, two storms prior to that. This model is light for my taste. This has about 2 inches of accumulation between these two shots of snow here. Again, that happens on the 23rd and again on the Christmas Day for Loveland ski area. I think we could be looking at potentially 3 or 4 inches out of this rather than just two. So I think on both takes for Alta, Solid, Snowbird, Solitude, Brighton, I think the take was a little bit light. I think it's going to be a little bit more, and the same would hold true for Loveland. All right, let me show you the jet stream forecast. So this is a jet stream forecast for wind at about 30,000 feet in the atmosphere, jet stream level, in other words, jet level winds. Where you see the colors, that's the stronger wind. That's what tends to roll these storms around the globe, tends to guide them like a storm track. So here we are early this morning, and I'll step you through this. Here's midday today. You can see the next jet streak coming. That's what's going to produce potentially light snow accumulation this afternoon for a number of areas through Utah, Wyoming, Idaho. That's what's escorting that snow through right now, and potentially central and northern mountains of Colorado. Light accumulations there's late tonight, and then that moves away. Now here comes our next setup. Here comes our Christmas Eve, Christmas Day storm. So this is midday on the 24th. You can see the trough rolling through the Sierra, the Pacific Northwest, heading towards the interior. Here's late on the 24th. So this is Christmas Eve. Let's move into Christmas morning. Here we are at 5 a.m. You can see the trough, the area of low pressure moving through Utah, Idaho, Wyoming, Montana, and into Colorado. That moves through. Here is late on Christmas. Let me take you into the day after. Here's the morning of the 26th. So that low is moving away. And then look at the pattern starting to set up. You see the jet streak, the really bright colors hitting California, Oregon. That's the leading edge of this active pattern, the 26th through about the 30th. Let me see how far we can go here. So this is midday on the 26th, and you can see that the nose of that jet stream hitting Northern California. So that'll be the start of the action. Okay, let me show you my numbers. So we'll do this in two phases. All of today through the 25th, so basically for the next 2 or 3 days um, totals during that time period. In the Sierra, 8 to 12 will probably do it for most. From Mammoth to Tahoe up to Shasta. Quite a bit more in the Pacific Northwest, looking at potentially 1 to 2 feet up there. Interior BC, anywhere from 4 to 8, less as you drop down into Banff. Idaho's in great shape with potentially 6 to 10 inches, maybe a few inches up in parts of northwest Montana. Look at that, 6 to 12 for the Tetons out of this time period alone. And there's 3 to 6 for a lot of the Wasatch. Again, I think that you'll get potentially some very light snow this afternoon and then some additional snow 24, 25. In Colorado, it's pretty light, 1 to 4 inches of accumulation. Second time periods, it's impressive. This is 1226 through the first of the new year. A lot of this happens 1226 through 1230. So maybe another foot in the Sierra. Look at the numbers in the Pacific Northwest, 2 to 3 feet of additional accumulation on top of what I showed here in the first period. So let's just take, for example, Mount Baker, 20 in the first period and another 40 in the second period. So a 60-inch grand total over the next roughly 9 days. Look at the numbers in the Wasatch, potentially 1 to 2 feet of accumulation during this time frame, and maybe 3 feet up there at Jackson Hole in the Tetons. Couple of feet for Grand Targhee, maybe 3 in Jackson Hole, 3 feet. And again, that's on top of, here's the first period. There's 12 for Jackson in the first period and another 3 feet. So we could be looking at 4 feet of accumulation in Jackson Hole between basically now and the first of the new year. About a foot up there in the parts of Montana and a couple of feet through Idaho. Really good there. Really good stuff. Nice targeting. Interior BC could be looking at 10 to 20 inches. In Colorado, look at the central and northern mountains. That's where the bulk of the snow is going to fall. And I think we're looking at potentially 10 to 20 inches through a lot of those two zones. Less, significantly less as you drop down into the southern mountains. I've got nothing for northern New Mexico. So big stuff. Let's go to the Northeast. I mentioned that the numbers are trending up, and they definitely are. Potentially 8 to maybe 16 inches of accumulation through Vermont, New Hampshire, and Maine. Look at the timeline for this. So in the Northeast, late today into tomorrow, light to moderate, and then potentially now moderate to heavy. So that has the intensity has increased 1229 into 1230, and that's where you're going to pick up the bulk of this. And then on 1-1, potentially moderate accumulations. And so that is how I reach these grand totals of about 17 in Killington, maybe 13 on Mount Snow, J Peak 8, Mount Washington, almost 20 inches. So we're looking pretty good during this time period. All right, guys, we'll end on the big west view here, 1226 through 1-1. This is going to be a big period with 2 or 3 significant storm systems blowing into the west coast and then into the interior with a rich feed of moisture. Guys, thanks for tuning in here. Always appreciate it. Take care. Have a great day.